when I made that video yesterday. I know it was on mute, nobody can hear me, obviously, but it was a 50-minute rant. What was going on in the game of history? Got about to say to Joe and them all in this game of history. So anyway, let's get to it. Oh, these Sony fanboys, well, especially Joseph, per se. Well, there's fire, there's smoke of air and earth. But where's the first parties at? Where's Jim Ryan at? Nowhere to be found. Retirement. Where's Rogan? Still there, but he's gonna be retiring. He's almost in his 90s, bub. No first party still. And you already know how big that game Marvel Wolverine is going to be storage space. Well, that's going to be 200 gigabytes, but you don't have the storage space. We know you're not buying a God War game. That's not your game. That's John's favorite franchise. Where there's fire, there's smoke. Cool that oh, man. Because you got nothing to play, and you playing a game that's that's 7 years old. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. That same game you're playing from 7 years ago that was cross-gen, I got it free in the free-to-play section. That was $0. Ha. I didn't have to pay for it because it was in the free-to-play section, and I got it for $0. That was free, completely free. That's why they gave me Assassin's Creed Valhalla free years ago. They had to pay for it. For Joe on that, you wasted $70. But it's fire, there's smoke because you got nothing to play. You use me for my kindness. Because these Sony fanboys are having up a state of third party. And no, you don't even play Marvel Tokon. That's on PS5, but that's gonna be on Microsoft soon too. But it's Joe and Diamante on this because I know Diamante's most anticipated game. If Diamante calls out and gives Sony the smoke, obviously, your most anticipated game is Dynasty Warriors 3 Remastered. Hey, Mario Torch, please do the super chat. What's up? Anyway. Your most anticipated game is Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered. Oh, I don't say these things. Joseph and Demon, you got nothing to play. The Demon has all these goddamn Soul-like games. And Joseph has nothing to play because he limits his games. That's your fault. Hey, Maurice, appeared to the super chat. Well, my day was good so far. Great so far. You. But anyways. Like I said, Sony still has nothing, Joseph and Diamante. Your console's third party, and it's jailbroken as of January. And I bring up another thing you didn't know about. Sony's dealing with 40 freaking lawsuits in the UK and the US. You can't make that up too, Joseph and Diamante. Come on now. These fanboys sit to my stomach, man. Oh, man. I don't know what to say to Joseph right now. He's been having it rough, but you run it there in hell. Kudish, oh, man. Because Sony still has nothing. Sony's been carried by the eighth generation. As I told them on in that hour and 30-minute range, I told Joe now Joe's a failure in the game industry. I even told Santi in that video too, your brother's a failure in the game industry. He don't know shit. He don't read and do his research enough. I've been doing research on all the game industry. That's the reason why I told Uncle John to follow Dirk Griggity and that's my friend because the true ass by source because they wanted to give Sony fanboys, especially Joseph and Diamante, pun intended, counting them included. Hey, Maria George was a super champion. So what? He was asking how's my day. Oh, my day was good. But either way, Sony says nothing, Joseph. Where there's fire, there's smoke. And where there's fire, there's tame of earth. And where there's fire, there's smoke of air. Because Sony still got nothing. Jim Ryan's still gone. March of 3 months ago, March the 2nd anniversary when he retired. The next March, March 3rd anniversary when he retired. Still getting serious ass either way. All I gotta do is buy those easy achievement games. In all 3 Tekkens and Song of Seventh Generation for Brave for the month. But either way, I double dip that game again. But either way, Sony still has nothing, Joseph. Where's the first party, Joseph? You overhyped another state of third party. Knowing they still didn't have the first party still. We all know you're not getting Modern Warfare 4. Because that's on Game Pass only, Premium Essential. So much for them removing it. Just for this year only. But so much for them removing this Black Ops 6 and 7 is still there. And Modern Warfare 2, the ones you played 2 and 3 is still Don't you never remove Modern Warfare 4. Because Sony still got nothing, Joseph and Demon. Give Sony the smoke. Because I know Demon is most anticipated game is Dynasty Warriors 3. Yeah, Complete Edition Remastered. And yeah, Joseph most say there's a Wolverine, but you don't have the storage space to start that game too, Joseph and Demon. You don't have to store it. Well, them only has stored the marble game. Joe don't. That's the difference. Been told Joe to get that gunstick hard drive. I've been told him to get that, bro. Been told him to get that. But you must uninstall it. Either way, Sony still has nothing, Joseph, and them all day. State of third party. Hopefully, them all thinks differently about Sony because Sony's been your current regime needs a current regime overhaul. Because they had all these lawsuits. They had over 100 studios shut down on Sony's end, counting Blue Point. So how they're going to make Elden Ring 2? And Fair Games is still up in shambles because we don't know if they're going to get an Elden Ring 2 because Fair Games is still in shambles. Well, there's fire, there's smoke, Joe. I know you've been having a rough time, but I've been having a rough time, but you're a failure in the game. You a failure. Because no accountability, that's your fatal flaw, too. I was just watching a bit on so they talk about people's flaws when it comes to Zoe. Yours is no accountability. You'll be all right. Especially when you're wrong in this gaming industry. You're really wrong. Because seems like Microsoft was right all along because Forza Motorsport might win Game of the Year again. Because like I said, Expedition 33 won Game of the Year last year. That's all John has to say to Joseph. End of story. Expedition won 31 Game of the Year last year. And then Forza Motorsport 6 might win Game of the Year for Best Racing Game of the Year. And then it's going to probably win Game of the Year for Best Game of the Year point blank period. I warned Joseph and Diamante on this, but y'all got nothing. And Joe's playing a 7-year-old game. Don't you say you didn't play old games, Joe? So expose that narrative. If you really want to be honest, your PS profile sucks. Out of the 2,000 trophies you almost earned, because yourself trying to catch John in trophies, pretty much you were ahead of him. You got 5,000 unearned trophies, Joseph. Actually, you probably had close to 5,100 as an night you played the new Persona 5 Royale. But either way, you have 5,100 unearned trophies. You're not a gamer, bub. You're a fake one if you are. Try hard if you are. Because most people don't have 5,000 unearned trophies unless you have 10,000. If you have 10,000 unearned trophies, then you have found the dash of that means you have been completing your games, but Joe has. You've been grifting. Sorry, and glazing. For a 7-year-old game. Especially because I didn't intended, not saying the game was good. It was pretty good from what I heard, but either way, Sony still has nothing, Joseph, and them all day. Where's the first part? Nowhere to be found. And then you had the nerve to still try, and then you try to clip me in some of my videos from 2024, pun intended, and some of last year too. I saw that, Joe, because it was your phone kept popping up on my end, me and Breeze in a while ago, bub. And that was not good. I knew you was clipping me. I knew you wasn't. And even though you said you wasn't, you was good. On our TV, it said it all. It said it all. You was clipping me, bub. Well, there's fire, there's smoke. Sony has nothing. Still. Because when it comes Sunday, when I see me and John see the Xbox Showcase, they got all these games, bub, on Series S and X, bub. Golf with your friends too. Minecraft Dungeon, we don't know Joe's not buying that. Only that would probably buy that is me because we know John's gonna go for the platinum in that one at least. So Joe in that platinum. Because it balls all the DLC, and I see John buy all the DLC again. I don't know if John's gonna get that PS5. This was edition we shall see. But either way, that's up in the air right now. If he gets that's just by choice because of luxury. He has all the consoles either way. I want Series X because it has all the gaming content. Sony has nothing. And I want Joseph to I've been reiterating in all my rambles and rants from last year and the year before last year when I resurrected my old channel last year, several months back, pun intended. I resurrected my old channel. Sony still has nothing. They're all money hats. And they don't have no true money hats because they barely bought Warner Bros. For 10%. That's a joke. 10%? Gotta be, man, come on now, Joseph. Y'all can't, they's got nothing on me right now. If y'all didn't see my Data Tier Best videos, why Nintendo has outdone Sony, look at those videos when I made those Data Tier Best videos, watch those videos, watch them again. Everybody that didn't watch, all my new audience that subscribed to me, pun intended, counting yesterday, but watch those videos, why Nintendo's been carrying Sony this whole day and outdoing Sony this whole despite Nintendo's issues to some degree, but either way, Nintendo's outdone y'all. Nintendo's always, John will always have a place for Nintendo in our hearts because Sony still has nothing. Because I told Joseph, I'm still getting started, whether you like it or not, discless consoles of the future. The disc ones are dead. And you know it. And your 28 physical games don't count. It don't. That's a small sample size. You're not a true gamer. Because if you look at your unearned on your PSN profile, it's terrible. And if you look at my comparison of Travis compared to Joseph, it doesn't add up. I have almost triple the amount of trophies that Joe has. Almost twice, almost 3 times the amount of trophies that Joe has. That state of play was mid. I 10 because still no first party still. Now one Joseph and Devon no first party. Where the hell is the first parties? And that's maybe you brought a console, especially in the 9th generation on first parties. Where's the first party? Not exclusive. As much Joe's exclusive so called and that's called cat with his fire does smoke on the Earth area and with his fire does tingles of Earth because exclusive don't suck up. The software does. Well, Joseph, you know that because Sony don't have no software. And the only way you get that software if the console's jailbroken. You big clown. Like I said, Microsoft has all the software. And Surface has all the software, Bubba. Sony better getting by with the hardware. I don't give a damn if they got 95 million, almost 100 million consoles. Sony still has nothing. Yeah, I'm part of the problem, but Sony still has nothing. I told you, and Joseph, I'm part of the problem, but Sony don't got nothing. They will have billions and millions of dollars on the table. They didn't make no Killzone. Where's Killzone? Nowhere to be found. Where's the Infamous 2? They finally working on that game, finally, but most likely it's going to be a remake of 2. But either way, it took them that long to even make a part 2 and remake for 2 and then a part 3 and 4 finally. Sony still has nothing, Joe. What is fire? There's smoke. There's smoke, there's fire of earth. Because Sony still has nothing. You can't tell me otherwise. You haven't been buying your games. It's the same ones. I found out Caleb Williams made. I thought Matthew Stell was on Madden 2020, but I was wrong about the cover. So I was only wrong. I've been right about every cover, but this year's one. So Caleb Williams made the cover. But anyways, what are we doing? Multitasking. I was still playing on cloud, but I'll be getting Series S soon. Series S soon. TO 24 playing. I'll be getting Series S soon. But anyways, Sony still has nothing. You can't tell me otherwise, Joseph. You haven't been buying your games. Support the dead. Bullshit. Because if that's the case, you would have bought games from all the studios. Well, all of them, not just some of them. You limit just your games, boy. That's your fault. Because you overhyped them. State of third party. And Sony's been carried by that for almost the past 3 years now. Probably even longer, in fact. Sony has nothing. Joe cannot debate me here. Much you want to go tit for tat? I can go tit for tat with you. There's fire, there's smoke of air, and there's, the smoke there's fire ruled by Venus and Mercury, and with there's fire, there's smoke of air ruled by Uranus and Saturn. The Sony has nothing. The Sony you knew is dead. Lack of exclusivity, them days are long. And then you don't buy your game support that does it. Joe would tell you, bullshit, Joe. Because you would have bought it for all other studios. You don't even own Final Fantasy now. Final Fantasy Ridge just dropped on Game Pass Ultimate. It drops this month on John's Game Pass, which sure should have been because Sony money had it for too long. I said Sony still has nothing. You don't even own Final Fantasy now. You better even own Marvel now because Marvel's contract with Sony's about to expire soon. So no, I don't know when, but I know it's supposed to be expiring soon. Because they only own Sony don't even own their TVs now because they let somebody else buy their TVs. But as the owners of the TVs. But either way, Sony has nothing. They want to cannot tell me otherwise. Sony still has nothing. All these games on Series S, but the content is undeniable. Expedition 33, Game of the Year from last year. Forza Motorsport Horizon 6, Game of the Year from this year. Most of it's going to be considered for Best Racing Game of the Year, and most of it's going to be in the contest for Best Game of the Year, period. And it looks like Capcom might be, if there was such, I don't know if that award exists, but if it is a Publisher of the Year contender, it's most likely it's Capcom. Sorry, Bandai Namco. Sorry to Joe. I was Bandai Namco or any other studio. Capcom's the #1 overall game, the race critic. Konami ain't that far off either. Talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! But Nintendo, because certain decks are annoying. Counting DM all these are critical because his decks are not meta. I don't give them the W or not. They're not meta. They're non-meta because you choose not to use all your resources. Either way, just waiting 16 years. 500 pounds, Bob. I know you're in a category of more than 80 percentile being mortally obese. You're built like a bear cave, but with all that height and length, and you're not even muscle for your weight, as of now that you gained over 20 plus pounds, that's not good, but you need to lose some of that weight. I mean that. Because you say, oh, no, you're not. If you went to going up them stuff like the weight, my Uncle John was once back in the heyday, there's something wrong with your weight. Then you need to lose some of that weight, Bob. Too much TN1 banging, too much TN1 banging, because when they really snatch your neck, Michigan Wolverines, that wasn't an accident. It's automatically not broken that though. But Jimmy needed to snap. Derek really needed to do the snap. He could kill his spouse. What else is new with you right now? Sony still has nothing. Like I said before, with his fire, there's smoke of air because Sony still has nothing. And Joe's gonna hype up the God of War game like it's nothing, but you know that's not your favorite studio. That's more my uncle's favorite studio / your father-in-law's studio. They might have just ruined it because the father of mom's death in that one. But there's actually two protagonists, but one of the father of mom's death in that one. What else is that's probably the reason why I take not going in reality because the father of mom's death in that one too. What else is new with that? But either way, Sony says nothing. Joseph, y'all overhyped the still third party. I wouldn't say the amount of overhyped it. He probably thought it was mid. I'm almost sure he's on my side of it. It's mid because they don't have the first parties. I'm sure they must have come here. They must have. I might be right here. They don't have no two first parties, and you can't count Marvel as first party because that's not first. That's second party because it's owned by Insomniac. So like Joe don't know the difference between first, second, and third party. Because first parties is FPS games like Doom, Call of Duty, Halo. What other FPS games? Titanfall. That's considered FPS. I know it's EA Sports, but it's considered FPS. Battlefield. There's so many FPS games. It's some I can name them all, but I'll name some of them though, at least in this video. But anyways, Joe overhyped the state of play, bro. He overhyped it. You got nothing still. Where's the first parties? Where's Jim Ryan? Where's the money? As I said with BG Fighter, so, oh well, where's the money? So the math's not mathing here, Joe. The math's not mathing here too, damn all day and good. Sony still has nothing. Jim Ryan's been gone for almost 3 years now, Bubba. At the next March, supposedly when he retired. I forced him out of office. Like I said, for me to get the 9th generation console, which I was going to get serious, I had already put money to the side. I already did that already. I continue to put more and more to the side until I get it. And I had both consoles, but Sony still has nothing. There was no point in getting the PS5 because they've been carried by the 8th generation. And all these goddamn cross-gen games. Playing against all the independent ones. So Demon said they removed. I know Demon said they removed shovelware accounts. And no, the games I played were not shovelware. Those were Rocket Games SL games, and those also UFO Interactive Games too. That's not shovelware. Because Rocket Games is an Asian independent friend. Demon don't know this independent still when we're going to easy button case, but he don't know the difference between shovelware and non-shovelware. He don't know the difference. Either way, anyway, Sony still has nothing. He had his super chat. That's Spanish. Yeah, I took that up in high school. In a pit years ago. I know about some things in Spanish, mostly, not all of them. Kind of cuss words, but anyway, Sony still has nothing. Justin doing all day. Where's the first parties? Gone. Where's the money? Gone. Where's all the studios? Gone. Where's all the popular games for all the quality games? Gone. They're around on all money hats and second and third parties and easy platinum games, all the independent games. For the non-shovelware ones, that everybody want to bring up shovelware. They don't know the difference between shovelware and non-shovelware when it got that Asian independent too. You don't know the difference. So the amount of calling him so-called businessman, he's not. So much of him having that great in the field, so you didn't take college seriously either, like I didn't either as well. So that passed haunts the amount on that too. Sorry. Either way, like I said, Sony has nothing Justin. They're gonna give Sony the smoke. Stop defending them, especially Justin, because he keeps the hyping state of play. That's why Marvel Game Nation did as of yesterday. Clowns for that, man. Swear to God. No one don't swear. But either way, Sony still has nothing Justin. They're gonna give them the smoke. It's an industry problem because Sony needs a current new regime. And once they have the current, they're going to continue to stink up the joint, bub. Stink up the joint. Because they don't have no first party. They don't have no true first parties. They're gone, bub. The exclusivity is completely gone. As I said before. Either way, Sony still has nothing. I warned y'all, bub. Warned y'all. And then the summer showcases tomorrow. I thought it was today, but that might have been tomorrow. They might have pushed it to tomorrow. I thought it was today, but the summer showcase is tomorrow. I'll probably be able to watch it at least. But either way, probably not get back from my appointment. But either way, Sony still has nothing Justin does. Sony still has nothing. As I told y'all before, y'all didn't get Sony no smoke when they pushed up their PlayStation Plus 9 times in a row, counting the year once they pushed it, that'll be 10 times when they push up their yearly ones eventually. So the PlayStation Plus, that's going to go from 160 to 190. The PlayStation Plus, that's going to go from 135 to 170. And then the PlayStation Plus Essentials, that's going to go from 80 to 100. I'm almost sure of it. Book it right now. Y'all can clip me off, and I told y'all fanboy special, y'all can clip me all y'all want. Part of the problem still not, which I am. Sony says nothing. Because PlayStation Plus is not offering you true value. and they copied EA Play. I knew Sony was going to do that backfired because Microsoft was doing EA Play on Game Pass only for the longest, and it was supposed for the longest. I had two Justin damn all day on that. Gotta give these niggas a smoke, bro, because tired of these niggas, man. Especially Justin, because I know he's having a rough time right now, but who's not having a rough time in this game industry? Because you got nothing to play. You playing a 7-year-old game, almost a decade-old game. You know they gave me that game free in the free-to-play session in a while, which was very funny about that $0. Anyways, it's $0. But anyway, Sony has nothing. Other than that, what you got? No games. At least Sony has a better backlog than you. And she played the same amount of games as me, almost 300 games played on her hands. 317 to this. I mean, her played the same amount of games. I already added her on PSN. Added her on PSN, by the way. By the way. Me and her played the same amount of games. Yeah, she might have all these zeros, but because she has a variety of games, she purchased most of her games digitally and physically. So, but if I was Santi in her shoes, I'm not saying if I was in her shoes, but if I was Santi in her shoes, I would have got that Series X and been done with it. If I was in Santi's shoes, knowing that she got her console when we was in Virginia, if I was in Santi's shoes, I would have got Series X and put it in Joe's face. And really just brag about it because that's back again. Santi could back up, you know, she has been on Xbox and God knows how long. But either way, you know, so Sony still has nothing. Just want to go in the wrong round because Sony still has nothing. Joseph Diamante. Where's the first parties? Gone. Where's the exclusives? Gone. The exclusivities in the past now. Consoles are jail. Well, ninth generation, so consoles jailbroken. Sony still has nothing. No first party. No quality games, as Joe wants to bring that up. No true developers, because most of half of the developers are gone or became independent because Sony kept money ahead for this one. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Remember Street Fighter V, right? That was supposed to be on Microsoft first. But Sony money had it. I give them credit for that. I can't say I could give them all the credit for that, but I give them some credit for that. That was supposed to be on Microsoft first. They didn't want that to happen because they knew Capcom not just was the number one game to rage quit in, but because Microsoft would have had better service online in terms of playing the players count. Henny's dumb self. If John was putting Henny on Street Fighter V, John would have beat him on Microsoft. But and the game Street Fighter is cross-platform, so he would have John would have beat Henny. If John had the time to train against him, I was matches in Capcom right now, especially Henny dumb, so he would beat Henny in his prime. Sorry. So I was calling my uncle old, huh, Henny, pun intended? Because Henny's still young. But anyways, Sony still has nothing. They want to go with the topic there. But Sony still has Justin damn all day. Y'all overhyped the Joe overhyped the state of third party. That state of no first party still. They even showed what's Intergalactic. I know it's supposed to be going out next year. They even showed gameplay for that. Where's Command War? They even showed a trailer for that. And they showed multiple trailers for it most recently. So like I said, Justin Damon, you got nothing to play. Joe has something to say when I get that service. Joe has something to say to me. Because you want to keep going tit for tat with his fire, there's smoke. And with his smoke, there's fire. I've heard about being submerged. With his fire, there's smoke. Robot, right? So I know more than you. Because you're robot Jupiter. And certain Jupiters don't have accountability in these industries. Especially in the gaming one, pun intended, in the fighting game industry, probably. Because most people in the fighting game industry would have gave people to smoke, but you didn't give it enough smoke to John and Capcom. I'll never forget 2020 to that. I remember that day when John beat Joseph that day, you know? I'll never forget those days. Ever. Less than 3 years ago. The Joe Glory days in golf are long gone in golf, you know? So like I said, Sony still has nothing. You overhyped the state of third party, and you know that I know it. No first parties, and with BG Fights, oh well, where's the money? Where's the money, Justin? Where's the money? The man's not mathing here. And so his current regime, long term has their current regime, instead of them getting an overhaul, and they continue to refuse to get a regime overhaul, I told them it's going to be like a baseball team. That's going to be a full turn. That's going to be a full turn as far as their regime. That's going to be a full tear down like a baseball team. That's going to be a full tear off from the ground up. And they had to start their current regime from the ground up because Herman Holt's not doing his job. Rokato is begging to doing his job because he's up there in age. And our current woman CFO and CEO, Sony's not doing good. And then Rook, the thinking shit, the two people I thought they were fired, Herman Holtz and David Jubal, I thought I was wrong about that so far. They should be fired as of now because Sony has nothing. Just want to go on this wrong round because Sony still has nothing. And I told Justin, there's fire, there's smoke. Cool that shit off, man. Because you're having it rough right now. You don't got no games. And then you got to learn to call my games cards because obviously the games you don't play. Final Fantasy X, man, one of the greatest second Final Fantasy X. I'll never forget John finished that game years ago. Those were the days. Second greatest Final Fantasy of all time, right behind 7. And I think 13, 2, and 3 were the third and fourth best Final Fantasy of all time, in my opinion, right behind 10x2 and 7. 13-1 was all right. Not from the inning standpoint, because it could have been better. But 2 and 3 were the best ones. To me, in my opinion, I know John played both. Uncle John played both, obviously. Sonny still has nothing. Justin, Diamante. That was game. I probably could. I remember John getting to that. I hadn't played the 10x2 as I already got it in my background. I just hadn't played it yet. Debating if I still play it. Debating still. I never played Final Fantasy. But anyway, it's not for me. But unless I look at the one to see how I play Final Fantasy. But either way, Sony still has nothing. Because these fanboys, man, I tell you, they don't know the hell they're talking about. Especially some of these certain fanboys that are going on these 5-hour long podcasts on rants. Now, I did those rants, but those were gaming content related for all the games I obviously played. Those bills I made during 2024 and 2023, and then that was when I had more energy than to make those 5-hour streams. Of course, that was on my older phone. That's when it was still working then before I did the accessory use. But anyways, so like I said, get Sony the smoke. Stop defending them, Joe. Because they don't give that. They give a damn about the money, but the way this going, Sony don't have the money. Sony is the Apple of gaming. And Microsoft is the Michael Jordans of consoles like me and John. I'd like to say to Jalen Patrick tomorrow, too, on that, too. Because performance not the GOAT. I got like to say in that video will be tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But I probably won't make that video until I get my point. But anyways, Sony still has nothing, Joseph, and then all day. Y'all gotta get Sony to smoke, because as long as y'all current machine still stinks up the joint, they'll never get over the hump. It's been a failed generation on Sony because their console sales went down by, and I didn't get a chance to tell Joe, but y'all console sales went down by 50%. Microsoft, theirs went down by 20%, but that's not as high as 50% on Sony. Sony's went down by 50% in the past 2 months, Bob. They pushed up their console price 8 straight times in a row, counting this year included. Corporate grade on Sony's and egregious and corporate grade on Sony and pettiness on Sony's, and that's how petty Sony is. That's how egregious Sony is too. They're too greedy. And greedy. Son. But either way, Sony still has nothing. Joseph, you need to stop defending them, Joe. Because you're the one wolf in sheets. You got nothing to play. If it wasn't for me and John getting you those games and then getting them, you had nothing. Wow, nothing. You put I over us. So you don't want to take no account of this. So somebody's going to give you this. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. Because one of your other pedophiles, because I know I saw a bit on some of this, you don't like certain meetings, especially with them in this industry. So we need to give you the smoke. John has been buying his games and getting them just subscription. He's been buying this the way I've been buying. I bought 3 games this month. 2 games, in fact. Actually, no, 3. Counting that easy platinum game that just pointed out earlier. Anyways, earlier this morning. But anyways, I was already pointing it out. And I just cleaned up. I'm almost done with Dodgers ball. So I just got to get that last year with the 10 balls. And now I had that point, but it took me 8 months to get that point with Dodgers. I also got the game on series. That's stupid. It's only 50 cents. But then you had to dodge 12 balls, and there's 2 more balls in the 10 balls on Sony, pun intended. But anyways, Sony still has nothing, Justin. Then you overhyped the third party for a second straight year, and you still don't got nothing. You know you're not buying Wolverine. You know you're not buying Marvel because it's on Microsoft, and the game's gonna do good, pretty much. And I'll be able to play that because that's part of my subscription service. I didn't pay for it. As long as I have open and I buy those easy achievement games, All Force of the Astronauts, Crisis Wing was another shooter out there was the same price. It was a 4,000 game score game. Forgot the name of that game, but it was a shoot 'em up. As long as I continue to buy those easy achievement and all 3 Tekkens on sale, I know they're going to have a backwards and balance when they put Tekken 6 on sale, but as long as I buy all 3 Tekkens on sale and Sonic and Shadow Generations as well and Burn Revenge and Sonic and Shadow Generations, I doubled that game. I don't think I know Bree wants to put that on sale, but I sure Bree has opened a lot of Microsoft points. She probably had way more than me Microsoft points, so I spent most of mine getting those 2 easy achievement games. But I had 2 more easy achievement games to buy on next month for Cloud and Surge. Those Cloud stays carried over if I get those 100%. Both on the 2,000 game score is Hex Stream Boy. That's the name of the game, Hex Stream Boy, and what's the name of the game? Legend of the Cyber. Both of them 2,000 game score, but they're easy games. But just the Legend Cyber is going to take a little bit longer, over an hour, because certain bosses are going to have power ups. But either way, so I should have both of those games next month, and I'll be already at 10,000 games. Joe can't compete. He has been completing his games, and if you were going to pull up his PSN Pro, I can do that for you in another video. His PSN Pro doesn't add up. 1,600 trophies unearned, 5,000 unearned, and his complete percentage is at less than 20%. I already saw it. It's not good. Terrible gamer, niche gamer, limited studios. Don't want to buy the games that I was. Other than Wolverine, what else you got to do? Justin did all day. Nothing to play for. And them all most anticipated game, Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered. You know, because Sony still has nothing. And I think that was the worst state of play they had since 2023. You know, they had over 300 state of plays, and this was one of the worst. The two of them were the worst 2023, and this year is one of the worst ever in the gaming history of gaming. Ever. Sony still lacks revenue. No first party. And if Sony's not careful right now, they're about to pull a second soon. Alexa. Alexa. Well, Alexa. Let's just hold up, guys. I'm get the right song. Alexa. Living room lights on. Alexa. Living room lights on. Oh God, one of the lights. It's okay. Either way, as I was saying, give Sony the smoke. Slap the venom, Justin. Give Sony the smoke.
I have to figure out.
Because Sony still has nothing. You overhyped the state of third party, bub. They got nothing. Nothing, bub. No true first parties. You can't say more rules. I don't want to hear from Joe. That's wrong. Bullshit, Joe. That second part because it's owned by Insomniac. And then who knows if they're going to own the Marvel contract because the contract's going to expire soon. Because most of the Marvel movies have been canon, most of them have been non-canon, but most of the movies have been canon. I cannot lie, but some of the movies have been canon. Counting Ghost Rider, I probably watched that one because it represents my personality. But anyways, the trilogy for them on Nicolas Cage returning, but it has faced Haney's personality years later. Because Henry hasn't learned from Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance in Part 1 from 2010 and 2002, and he hasn't learned. Been about a so-called they call him a fighter, and he's not a fighter. Maybe a dream. About Crimson Tide. But anyways,
He's more.
Sony still has nothing. They got Microsoft has all the games, but the content on Microsoft is undeniable. All these quality games, Bob. Silent Hill 2. No, not Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill F. The one that John didn't buy. That's yet. I think John's gonna buy that soon. Unless he already bought it already. What was the other Silent Hill that was coming out? That's coming out next year. I forgot the name of that Silent Hill, but it has a black guy in it. For what John told me earlier. But anyways, all these games, Bob. Sony don't have nothing. Minecraft Dungeons 2, that's on Game Pass, all in Premium Essential. Golf Friends, that's part of Game Pass, all in Essential and Premium, and Ultimate. Clockwork Revolution. So I had to mention that in one of my video from yesterday. I did mention that in the video yesterday. But my video was muted. But anyway, it was a almost 50-minute rant. But anyways, Sony still has nothing. As I told y'all before, give Sony the smoke, Bob. Because y'all first party is lacking. And as long as they still don't have no first party, Sony's current regime needs a regime. It's going to be a full teardown. They need a new regime. But I'm sorry, Joseph. They need a new regime. Because Sony don't have nothing, Joseph, and them all there. Y'all overhyping state of third party. And I told you that was the second worst state of play since 2023 when Spider-Man 2 came out. Second worst state of play since ever. And Spider-Man 2 didn't even win Game of the Year in 2020. For one, it was I said it earlier in my head too. One was a remake of the actual game behind the movie years later. This was different actor and actresses. Obviously, because the other ones to sink there until they got Tobey Maguire. But it took them this long because they offered them a $500 million deal, and Marvel said no. And then when they finally gave it to them again, they said yes because the money they should have paid them a long time ago. Dumbasses on Marvel's end. But anyways, no story for another time. Anyways, Sony still has nothing, Joseph. You overhyped another state of third party. That was not peak. If you're not going to buy these games, you don't have the storage space to install them. It's going to be 200 gigabytes, bub. And then y'all console prices is beyond ridiculous. $600 for the PS5 Discless Edition. $600, and the hell, even the refurbished ones are not that far. Almost $420 for the refurbished one, counting the sales and tax per nintendo on eBay. But Series S is the best buy and get a joke. Is missing out. FOMO and FIMO. What does that mean? Look it up. Much as you close up looking up, you know what FOMO and FIMO means. Fear of missing out. That's what it means, Joseph. And then fear, and the FIMO, fear of you missing out. That's the whole point of it. If you did not know that, there's something wrong with your comprehension. Dumb, my comprehension was bad. At least I know about those terms. Because Sony still got nothing, Joseph, and then all this. I just want to go in this wrong way. I was post this video because I know this video was late, honestly. But Sony still has nothing. They don't have no true gaming content. It's a console that looks like a router with no games, no quality games. And they copied Microsoft for this entire generation, and they still backfired because all the studios shut down. All that money gone. Jim Ryan is gone. I really ruined him and enrolled him all day because, man, he was not doing his job. He was a liar. Terrible liar, man. Couldn't stand that guy to this day. I know he's better, but I couldn't stand that guy to this day because, man, he was a liar in that AB game Bethesda case. Because no, they said they took over AB game, but they wasn't going to recover. And then Jim Ryan wasn't right about that either. Get out all these games. Mike's out all these games about Conquer Revolution, Outer Worlds 3, whatever that comes out. Fable that comes out next year, obviously. Resident Evil 10, Resident Evil 11. All these games are contenders for next year when Project Heroes comes out. And when I already have Series S by then, I already have Series S by then, be playing on that every day. But either way, I have all these games, Bob. Fight Night Champion to play. That's part of my subscription terms on EA Play on Series S. Fight Night Champion. Man, I'm gonna be really whooping niggas' asses in that game. That's like I did on Fight Night Round 4. Dog, man, those were the days. To play that game, I had to finish the storyline first. I had to make the P. I was gonna make Controversial or DMX Fun Intended on Fight Night Champion, Fun Intended. But either way, Sony still has nothing. And then they got all these other games I can play on EA Play and Ubisoft got Monopoly Plus. I can play that twice because they have the new Monopoly Plus, and then they got the regular Monopoly Plus. I can play that twice and double stack on those achievements, which is good for me. I love playing Monopoly like that, especially online and offline. But either way, Sony still has nothing chosen. They want to get Sony to smoke. Because Joe's going to keep defending no matter what I say. Because he knows I'm right. I'm not wrong. You want to, well, it's fire the smoke. Cool that shit off, man. You got nothing. You playing a 7-year-old game, bub. And you call yourself a gamer. Boy, please. Because you have over 1,600 trophies, but you have more unearned than earned. You're not a gamer, bub. Try hard gamer. If you are, that's good. You're not considered casual, even that completion percentage of yours. But that's try hard. Because you have all these unearned trophies. You got all these E's and F's in your trophy case, but if I pull that up, I'm not a gamer. If you look at my trophy, I have twice or more, triple the amount of trophies and more platinums than you. Way more platinums. You've been stuck at 3 for how long now? Almost 3 years, bub. I almost got 170 platinums on Xbox Glory 2, bub. Almost at 175 to the exact. Because that's the next milestone once I reach. And I'm almost at 160 platinums on Furry Kingdom. I'm almost at 160 platinums on Super Nintendo 64. So you add all those platinums right there. I'm almost at 500 platinums on all 3 of my PSNs, but I don't have my other 3 PSNs anymore. But anyways. And I have over, count my trophies, I have over 12,000 trophies to Joe's 2,000. It doesn't add up now, don't it? Who's a gamer, who's not in golf here? Microsoft was a Michael Jordan, the console I made down. Microsoft was right all along, and Sony was wrong. Because Sony's business, or so-called business in their industry, for all the businesswomen or businessmen have not done well here. Microsoft's businesswomen and businessmen have got it done here. Because I trust Microsoft over Sony's company, because Sony's company needs a overhaul just in damn all day. Because once that current regime said, they're going to turn the shit the bed right now. Because that's basically what Sony has done to y'all this whole generation. They've been lying to y'all about 60 FPS. And Joe said all the games that 60 FPS, that's a lie. They've been 30 FPS since the PS4 and PS3 generation. It's never been 60 FPS. And you had to pay for that 60 FPS patch on Sony. Unlike Microsoft, their 60 FPS patch in 1 and 20 is free. Tell me why they don't charge for that, but Sony does, Joseph. Then answer that question. And they took the 60 FPS off the box just over several years ago. So you knew they were lying about the FPS bullshit. That was bullshit there. So much for Joe defending Sony gets fired to smoke. Cool that shit off, man. I got time for that shit. Take the word out of controversial, make it drama-versal for Joe. Sorry. Because he can't win in this game because he got nothing to play. He didn't buy the games. I've been buying them. I own all the licenses. And he still hasn't played not neither one. I bet he couldn't even name a game he actually played from on mine that he hasn't played that. And basically, when my aunt told me, he basically used me for my kindness. Well, my game backlog because he knew I had all the games. And he didn't play any of them, other than the same ones. Where our new kid was on Madden 2027. I thought it was going to be Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford was robbed. No lie, but I thought Matthew Stafford was going to be on the cover. No lie, Matthew Stafford was robbed. Now, but CB's on the MVP edition for Madden 20, but I think he was robbed. Be on this. So he's been in the game on Madden, but never been on the cover. He's been robbed, but even though his athletic progress is man, he's been robbed of a Madden cover. He's never made it yet. He still has to wait until 20 to even make a Madden cover. That is sad. Feel bad for Matthew Stafford, broke by his range to sound like me. No, that M2. Two Zodiacs crazy about Rangers and Saturn and also Taurus rising and Venus and Mercury. But anyway, I feel bad for Matt Stoker. Me and him at the same exact time. I feel bad for him, man. He's the same air one as me. I feel bad for him, man. He was robbed of that man too. He was robbed. He won MVP this year. How did he not make the cover? He been in the game or in the game in the game for his time, but never made the cover. Something's wrong here. Somebody's biased in the sports industry, you know? Especially when it comes to the Madden covers. I don't know who's on it. Ain't the issue. I thought Matthew Stafford was going to be on it, but Cam Woods was well deserved. Now I said Cam Woods was well deserved. Matthew Stafford was more deserving to me, in my opinion, because he won the unanimous MVP last year. So that's why Matthew Stafford had to wait until Madden 2028 to make the cover, I guess. But either way, it's what it is. Anyways, 40 minutes, keep the rank going, I guess. Sony still has nothing, Justin. Give Sony the smoke, Justin. Stop defending them, man. Because you're the 1-1 in sheets. You got nothing to play. Sport to death. Bullshit. Where's your other games at? Other than the same ones you couldn't even name your favorite game. You couldn't even name your favorite studio of all time. Other than Naruto, but you know what game that started that, right? That was Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden. Ha ha, I already knew that. It's like Call of Duty was started by Halo and Doom. If you talk about the zombie mode in Muchcom, but if you turn on the multiplayer, that game Call of Duty was started by Halo and Doom. If it wasn't for Halo and Doom, there was no Call of Duty. So if it wasn't for Naruto, if it wasn't for Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden, it was no Naruto games. You know all that. Trust me. If it was for those two games, it was no Naruto games in existence. Even with that manga being popular as it is. Trust me. Damn Naruto on that. Don't forget the games that start them. As I said before, Shinobi and Muchcom was started Naruto. Just like same with Raven and Tekken, pun intended, no being a ninja, pun intended. And Kira of a nostalgia and Capcom, pun intended. That's the start of that. Ninja Gaiden and Shinobi. Just like Call of Duty was started by Halo and Doom Jones, so that's not true. It is true. Because we really want to bring us more salt into the room. A millennial, which is a white guy, it was a white guy that started the skill base. He the one that started. He's not just, so you want to bash my generation now? That's what I thought. Because no one was silent in the room. So shut it. He started the skill base. I forgot his name, but he already got his degrees in the field for working with Activision. But either way, he started the skill base. So you blame him for that. Don't blame nobody else. But you want to bash my generation? You will not bash millennial. I'll tell you that right now. Much you bash John Lisa's generation of Gen X, you will not bash my generation of Silent Millennial. I'll put you on the ground. But the way that dude did it in that Street Fighter movie trailer, so much you put your hands on me and know that dude of your person try to put their hands on dude that was special needs, and he really just put you on the ground. So much for that. To hell with that too. And that's what you get for underestimating people in fights, because you don't know that you're fighting until you only know two of them. I know about multiple fighting styles, kind of martial arts included. I know how to be more disciplined than you. So to find the ones that I have to find Tiger, Dog, Dragon, and Mouse, which I have to find all four of those ones. Get Chinese and Dog, and I want to find that one too, pun intended.
Right?
The Sony still has nothing chosen to do them all. Just want to go on this long run, obviously. Okay, guys, I end the video right there. This was a long run, obviously. Give my PSNs. That's a Glory to Furry Kingdom. Some Tennessee, that's all three of my PSNs. You know the fine, just keep those close friends because you'll notice me. There's 3 different PSNs, 3 different gamer tags. I already changed the paid for them, etc., etc. Notify my own Series S now. Finally getting this console Series S now. Notify my cloud game in Series S. FL 4859 Retro 50 for those above my Microsoft going to be linked to Series S, but intended in cloud. Which already linked to cloud, so now it'll be linked to my Series S. But anyways, notify me on YouTube, Unique KBH Podcast, and News Frontiers too. Anybody that subscribed to me on Unique Cards, thank you. I appreciate it. And my old YouTube channel has resurrected. Now the copyright insurance and all things and these dumb stuff. I was able to resurrect that YouTube channel, thank God. I had to check if it's not to keep it active. Anyways, thanks for subscribing to me. Previous name on that YouTube was Young Up. I changed to 7 Hutch 1, and once I changed the name was Esther. So notify me on all 4 of my YouTube, 7 Hutch 1, KBH Podcast, Counting 7 Hutch 1, the one I resurrected, obviously. Unique Cards, my new main one. And KBH Podcast. You notify me for about this week. You can subscribe to me on my YouTube channel, Counting News Frontiers 2, pun intended. You notify me on all 3 of my YouTube. I gotta keep making short videos or 3-minute shorts just to get more subscribers, pretty much, on those other 2. So I had to keep those bills going, and I had to add more podcast pictures if that's the case. Most I had to make bills on my tab. You have to make a bill on my tab, but once I make the bills on my tab, I'm gonna test that out tomorrow, pretty much. And when I get back from my appointment, I'll test out the bills on my tab. Then if they worry that I make bills on the phone, they'll be consistent. Because the most I think I made once was 18 videos before they told me to stop. I made so many that month. That was back in 2024. In 2020, when I made those double-digit bills consistently, the max you make is 18 before they tell you to stop and give it break out. So, but anyways, okay, guys, I end the video right there. But you got all my links. Oh yeah, get my IG, Hutchiganami on IG, and Couch on my merch banner on IG. Notify me on Facebook, like, and messages. My own name and spelling. You see the Heaven Hell AI picture. My messenger right name is Esper Gorgeous. You notify me there. Notify me on TikTok. That's Woman Queen 3. Notify me on my Gmails if you're trying to talk to me through Google and et cetera, and Outlook, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, guys in the bill. Now with the good stories, obviously, but the bill was minute, obviously. Just wanted to go on this long rant, obviously. You notify me on all my social, you got all my social media for all three, on YouTube. Or you get my Twitch, Cyber11, Furry King, and give me her 6 and because that's all for my Twitches. Just give one of my Twitches go away, obviously, or gets the way there, obviously. So you notify all 4 of my Twitches, you notify me both my Instagrams, you notify me on Spotify, Cyberpunk 11. No, yeah, Cyberpunk 11. Face Hush 12, my merch better one on Furry King on Spotify and Raise Power. You notify all 3 of my Spotify. You got all my links for all 3 of my Spotify's, all 3 of my PSN. You notify all 4 of my YouTubes, all 4 of my Twitches. Notify me on all my Gmails, and etc. So, can I would get serious ass? Finally, once I put the money to the side, which I already did that just a couple days ago, obviously. So I'll see y'all on Series S, y'all, pun intended. If anybody that wants to join me in Discord, y'all can join me on Discord on Series S. Now to get Series S, pun intended. So, okay, guys, in the bed right there. Long right now, this almost 50 minutes. Can I to get the Series S, guys, as well. See y'all on Series S. Deuces.